And I'm going to welcome everybody to the East Lyme Board of Selectmen
You're
meeting.
sitting down, Rob. No one's going to see.
Today's July
I won't
1st.
tell.
It's 7:30, and I'll call the meeting to order with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank y'all. It's my southern thing.
Y'all.
Any additional agenda or consent items tonight? I believe not. Delegations, anyone from the public wish to speak at delegations tonight? Nothing. We'll approve the minutes of the last meeting. That's the regular meeting of the 17th of June.
Move to approve the minutes of the meeting of June 17th, 2015 as submitted.
Second.
Been submitted and seconded. Any comments, corrections? All in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Oh, hi, Brooke. Thanks for stepping in tonight. Yeah. Consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar in the amount of $44.33 for the meeting of July 1st, 2015.
Second.
That might be a record low. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. We'll go right on to new business. We should have a short meeting tonight, a short agenda. There is discussion and authorization for the first selectman to enter into a contract with Vision Government Solutions for the 2016 reval in the amount of $148,500. Our town assessor's here. Would you like to speak on this? Do you have anything to report? I know that Vision Government Solutions was the low bidder, and we worked with them before. Maybe you could just say that into the mic and own it.
Thank you. Yes, on April 17th of this year, we sent out the RFP, the request for proposal for the 2016 revaluation.
Just pull the microphone to you. There you go.
We had 3 bidders, and on May 13th of 2015, we had a pre-bid meeting for anybody who was interested on bidding on our contracts. And May 25th was the day of the opening bids. We did have 3 bids. The highest bid was $218,000. The middle bid was $155,100, and $148,500 was the lowest bid. Now, the lowest bid is Vision Appraisal. We have been with Vision Appraisal for quite some time. They've done the reval over probably about the last 5 cycles, so they're very knowledgeable about the town and the geographic sections of the town and things like that. So we did review the contract with the town attorney and the finance director, and we went over all the different stipulations and the exceptions from each contract, and we came to the conclusion that it was Vision Government Solutions that was the best fit for the town at this
Ma'am,
time.
they've worked for us before, and you've worked with them hand in hand before because
Correct.
you're the town assessor. Have you found their work to be satisfactory or above satisfactory?
Yes, satisfactory. And
You're looking forward to working with them again?
Yes.
Okay. So
We have the same people pretty much
yeah,
every
right.
time.
So it
that
meets
makes
your
it nice.
approval and with 2 thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay, great. Any other questions from the commission?
Did they
Yes.
just change their name?
Yeah, they changed the name about 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Ms. Hardy?
I wonder if you have the figures for how many people or the percentage of people that came in to ask for a readjustment on their appraisal?
The last revaluation?
Yes.
I
Which
don't have
Vision
that
did.
offhand, but I'd be more than glad to get it to you, report it
Okay.
back to you.
All right, I would be interested in that. What percentage or number of how many people came in and asked to have their assessment adjusted, and how many of those were approved by the review board?
Okay, I think it was a very low percentage, but I'll
Mhm.
be more than glad to get it back to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And this is a statistical
That is correct.
evaluation? Okay.
Yes.
So this isn't the full one where there are site visits and
Right.
everything like
Correct.
that? It's just
Mhm.
number crunching in effect. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mark, just maybe a question maybe for Ann. What was it that we allocated in the budget for the appraisal? I know it was in the capital.
You want to shout it out and I'll put it in the microphone? Do you remember? So what Anna says, basically, there's $205,000 available for this particular reval. Any money that we're not using on this one, I would say we're probably just going to keep it going because we have the big price tag coming up in 5 years.
Correct.
The big reval comes, the door-to-door one, so, and that's a very, very expensive one. So we would just roll it over and start contributing toward that particular fund anyway.
So that money, the leftover will be allocated for future use, won't be spent on anything else, okay. Thank you.
To tag on to Mrs. Hardy's comment, did you the people that asked for reconsideration? Did you find that to be extraordinary? Was it typical? Was it the percentage of people who came to challenge their revals? Was it typical?
From what I recall, the last revaluation in 2011 was I felt it was extremely low compared to the 2006. So
Okay.
I do believe that the numbers were very low percentage, but
Yeah.
as I said, I'll be more than glad to
It
get
was a
back
good
here.
question.
Yeah.
We should look at that.
Well,
at some point.
perhaps
Absolutely.
for our purposes in budgeting and looking ahead for the next big cycle, you should include for us the 2006 figures so we'd have comparison,
Okay,
if
sure,
that's possible. Thank you.
absolutely.
Great. We can take a motion.
I'll move to authorize the first selectman to sign a contract with Vision Government Solutions for the 2016 revaluation in the amount of $148,500.
Second.
Is your motion done?
Yes.
Okay. I thought he stepped on you. I apologize. We
No.
had some questions already. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. Mr.
Before we move on.
Yes?
I'm wondering why this couldn't have been included in the call for the last town meeting. This is a single item. We've got to have a special town meeting again. We've got to advertise for it.
Are you talking about the reval?
Yes,
It does not need to go to a town meeting.
because it's
according
under
to our-
budget.
Because it is because we've already appropriated the funds through budgetary appropriations or whatever. So we already have this in our budget, so we do not have to go to town meeting. It does not have to go to Board of Finance either.
Correct. If you recall, we've already appropriated the funds at the town meeting that we just had.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm ahead of the game. It's 2B,
Okay,
the special appropriation.
then okay, and that's an interesting question. We do have, for the call, we have other items coming up.
Right.
We weren't, why don't we go through the presentation by Bill Shear, and I think he's brought a guest with him as well, and we'll talk about 2B, which is a special appropriation of $40,000 to upgrade the town hall servers, purchase and install a new firewall, and redundant backup units. I believe we just weren't ready yet for the last town meeting. But Bill, do you want to come up and walk us through what you're asking for approvals?
Bill Shear, Deputy Director of Public Works. As you know, we brought Star Computers, Dave Lewis is here from Star Computers, on board last July, and they've been with the town for a year now on contract, and it's the best decision we ever made. They've been fantastic. When they first came on board, they started fighting our regular fires that we would fight. Over the last, 5-10 years, we've run into things like viruses. There's a new crypto wall, which Dave is going to explain. It's a very devastating thing that can happen. I'm going to let Dave explain it. He does a much better job than I do. But we were weeks away from Star Computers. They'd already been on our servers, but we were going to reevaluate all our backup systems. I don't know, this is 5 or 6 weeks ago. And then we had a server failure. Our newest server is 6 years old. We had a server failure. Then we had problems with the backup. And then, as it turns out, we weren't completely backing up all the correct files. We had 90% of everything, but we missed a small piece, which, as you see here, required some hand entry to recover some of our data. Now, we have some very important data downstairs. We have the assessor software, we have the tax software, we have finance software, we have all our emails and everything that we do in the town hall. This stuff is really crucial to the operation of the town. So we all sat down and we realized we needed to get our backups upgraded. We also had security issues, which Dave will get into, and we tried to come up with a plan on how to move forward with this. When we sat down, we realized that, over the goal was to get Star fully enmeshed in our system over 2 years. And at some point in that process, we would come with a long-term plan. Our PCs, we have a great upgrade system for our PCs. We're actually up to date now every 5 years. I've been telling you for the last 10 years that we need to upgrade our servers every 7 years. Talking to Dave, that is not correct. It's every 5 years. So all of our servers downstairs are now past their expiration. And as I said, we have a lot of important stuff here, and we ran into an issue that caused a lot of problems. It's all fixed or almost fixed right now. But when we sat down, we realized, hey, we need to do something, and we need to fix all these items, and the only way to do it, we came to the conclusion, is to do it all at once. Now, as part of our capital appropriation every year, I ask for $15,000. As you can see, to upgrade these servers is going to cost $45,000. And then in 5 years, we'll need another $40,000. Now, our capital appropriation is $15,000 a year, 5 of which was for servers, which I told you in the last 6-8 months. So that means all we would need going forward is an additional $3,000 per year to build up to that $40,000 that we'll need in 5 years. So this is a big investment right now, but that's the first round, just to get us up to speed right now. And then I will come back and ask for the additional $3,000 every year, so that in 5 years, we replace all this same stuff again. So Dave, you want to step in and give a little bit more of a technical update?
Yeah, so the equipment is just aging. Some of the servers are Windows 2003, which is not supported now, so those need to be replaced. As Bill mentioned, our newest server downstairs is 6 years old. The oldest is probably closer to 10, and really they need to be swapped out or renewed much more frequently than that. Backup systems, we need to just get those up to date. We would look at virtualizing servers, which is just a newer way to do things, much easier for backing up and recovery when there's issues. And all those things need to just be upgraded in order to get you at a much stabler platform. So the Encrypto wall, Encrypto locker that Bill was referring to is it's an infection that will hit networks and basically lock all of the files on a network, basically making them unusable. You can't get to them without the encryption key that would unlock them. This is a serious threat. Upgrading the firewalls would protect us from that with the subscription services that are built into those. So that's just one of the things that we see.
What they do is after they lock your files, they make you pay them money to get the encryption key.
It's ransomware. It's known as.
It's happened in other towns in Connecticut.
It has, certainly. Yeah.
I can't
And
believe
the truth is, without good backups, the data's gone. It's locked, and you're not getting it back.
Actually, David, you mind explaining how the backups will work?
Yeah, so we took a multi-level approach. First of all, we'd be backing up on a file-level basis, and that would be real-time throughout the day. So anytime a file was changed, it would be backed up. In addition to that, we would do nightly backups of the entire system, and then that backup location, which would include the first two, would also be replicated off-site on a daily basis as well. So we'd have several layers that we can go back to should there be any failure, as well as revisions. If there was a file that was accidentally deleted or modified and saved, we could actually go back and get yesterday's version or I think up to like 14 versions.
And we had a failure in one of our servers.
That is correct.
And a dramatic failure.
Yes.
And you folks got a taste of that a couple meetings ago. We started talking about it, that we lost, some data was not backed up properly in one of these ancient servers. It wasn't done automatically as it should have been. And the result is we had to go and use lots of man hours to recapture and re-input, frankly, line by line sometimes, data. And, we were able to go back and capture some stuff. Hey, I don't understand this stuff. We have experts that do. And I'm thankful for your service to the town, sir. I know it's a paid service, but we're a better town because we have you on board. We appreciate that. Does anyone have questions?
Is the backup cloud-based or?
It's not cloud-based, being that we have the opportunity to utilize a fiber connection and locate the off-site copy at another town building. It's sort of your own cloud if you think of it that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that would protect it against fire.
Currently,
Yes.
we do not have off-site backup.
We will now.
That's,
And where is it gonna be? Is it gonna be at one of the schools or?
It'll be at the dispatch center.
Be at the dispatch center.
Okay.
And same thing, their stuff we backed up here?
Ultimately, yes, that's going to be a completely separate, that's a separate server there, but they can send it here or to one of the other town
So,
departments.
so Bill, is this using our tie-in with the Nutmeg
yeah.
network, some of it?
We also have another fiber connection.
Okay.
That, it's all fiber. With fiber's opening up all new avenues to do things.
Thank you.
Good question.
You mentioned that most of this would be done during the evening, so that this will not impact workers during the day.
The full backup would be done in off hours.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I know this has come up before, Bill, and I particularly talked to the schools about it with their technology upgrades. Have we looked at leasing? I went to a CCM workshop, and they seem to think, everybody says, oh, every so many years we should replace. And some of the towns seem to think leasing was a better option because you're just tied in for 2 years. You can get more frequent upgrades without that capital expense.
We do work with a couple of leasing companies that specialize in computer servers. I'll be more than happy to provide that information, and then you just need to look at it and decide whether that makes sense for the town.
I'm just curious, given the constraints
It's
we
work-
have as far as budgets go, particularly where we're consuming large amounts of equipment.
It's worked very well for a lot of the small businesses that we deal with. So again, I'll be more than happy to provide that to you.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'd like to see that too.
Sure.
I just like to add, I can't believe we have servers that are 10 years old. Like, I don't think any business in their right mind would
Think about the records
would
that are out there.
have their office and their
Yeah.
records backed up on a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Again, think of I guess every business has important records. Our business is no different, but, tax records and
It's important stuff
assessor
here.
records and all the things that kind of, the lifeblood of this business are on those servers.
12 years ago, we didn't even have an IT department.
Right, right.
So we've come a long way, and this is the last step.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go by today without it. No, this is important.
This is the right thing to do.
Yep.
And I can't impress that on you enough.
Well, it's certainly a lot more expensive to repair the damage after it's happened.
Correct.
And having been a victim of this at the high school, and many of the files never having to be recovered, never able to be recovered, and having to redo all that work. It's
And
pretty
currently,
overwhelming.
right now, we back up every night, but with the real-time backup, if something like, say right now, if something happened at 3 o'clock, you lose everything from 8 to 3. With this system, it's instantaneous, so if it failed at 3, next morning, we're back up where we left off at 2:59.
Does the high school have, do they back up their stuff here, or is that part of the plan? Sorry.
No.
No, they're
No.
a different entity altogether.
Well said.
I'll move to allocate and transfer $40,000 from CNRE account 32-70-300-500-100 town project allocations to an account to be established titled Servers for the purchase of a server for the town hall and to purchase and install a new firewall and redundant backup units and to forward to the Board of Finance for approval, and this requires a town meeting.
Second.
Got a motion, it's been seconded, Mrs. Hardy. You had a question for me earlier. Has it been answered? We have many things on the call coming up, so we're not gonna have a town meeting just for this one, okay? Not many, but we have 5. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, we move on. Thank you
Thank you.
again, Dave. Thank you, Bill, for coming out tonight.
Before you leave, after this is approved by town meeting, how long before you would be able to go into operation with this?
So we estimate 3 to 4 weeks realistically. I mean, if it really, if there was a problem, we could move that up a little bit sooner, but we feel comfortable in the 3 to 4 week period.
And then how long would it take you after you'd started to complete the project?
We'd probably install them in phases, like each server, maybe one every few days or one a week, so that we'd have a minimal impact on the town. Certainly picking days that are better than others for certain applications. But certainly within a week to 2 weeks, we should be able to have everything transitioned over.
Thank you.
Thanks again, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. 2C is the sign call.
Notice of a special town meeting. Notice is hereby given of a special town meeting of the town of East Lyme to be held on August 5th, 2015 at 7 p.m. at the East Lyme Town Hall for the following purposes. 1, to approve an allocation in the amount of $350,000 from Open Space Fund 59 for the purpose of purchasing a conservation easement on property to be owned by the New England Forestry Foundation at the closing of the purchase and sale of the property, consisting of approximately 166 acres with an entrance at the intersection of Goldfinch Terrace and Cedarbrook Road in East Lyme. The conservation easement shall be in the form satisfactory to the Board of Selectmen and the town attorney. Also resolved that said amount shall not be paid unless and until all other funds from the following sources are made available to the New England Forestry Foundation at the closing of the purchase and sale of the property. $500,000 from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, $375,000 from private or public funding received by the New England Forestry Foundation. 2, to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $20,600 in CNRE Fund 32 to an account to be established titled Fiber Optic Network for the grant awarded by Connecticut Office of Policy and Management, OPM, to install and lease for 20 years a fiber optic connection from the Town Hall to the Niantic Fire Station, where it will tie into the Connecticut Education Network, CEN. 3, to approve a special appropriation allocating $40,000 to upgrade the Town Hall servers and purchase and install a new firewall and redundant backup units. 4, to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $114,460 to complete projects consistent with the capital improvement plan. 5, to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $178,668 in the 2015-16 budget to the following budget accounts: $178,668 to 01-30-317-500-224 Town Aid Road, and corresponding revenue account 01-03-300-301 due to the adoption of the State of Connecticut budget. The total amount of $156,226 Town Aid Road and $22,442 MRSA for municipal projects to be used for roads. Dated East Lyme this first day of July 2015.
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Comments?
Did these revenue amounts in item 5, as far as you know, remain the same in the new budget that was adopted?
As far as I know.
Okay.
There was very little change in the entire budget
For
from what I heard from
municipalities, okay.
on Monday. I did not specifically go into the budget to look at this. We will before the town meeting, just to be sure of these numbers. Maybe even before, well, yeah, we'll be
Okay.
sure.
All right.
We'll be sure we'll have that information, but very little change. And from what I heard, nothing changed with municipalities
Okay.
on
thank
Monday.
you.
Okay. It was short and sweet. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ayes have it. We have ex officio reports. We'll start with Mr. Wilson and work the other way tonight.
I have no report.
It's a quiet month.
And the first selectman attended zoning on my behalf, so I defer to him for my report.
Oh dear. Okay, that was a long time ago. I'll,
Think about it,
Many
yeah.
meetings ago. I'll think about that. Mr. Siri?
Nope, Parks and Rec has not met since our last meeting, so nothing there.
No meetings since our last
Yeah,
meeting?
right.
I went to an inland wetlands meeting. It was a referral from the zoning commission regarding Oswegatchie Hills. So it was a kind of a quick meeting, 30-minute meeting. They were trying to figure out what they were supposed to do and what they're being asked. And they were handed the whole entire zoning record, and they adjourned to come back for another meeting so everyone could go through the record and then come up with a recommendation. And the only other thing is in the harbor management meeting I had last meeting. This I talked about it last meeting, but something I forgot to mention was there was a gentleman there that came to talk about enforcement of no wake zones in the Niantic River, and he had some concerns. And he asked specifically, what the what the police are doing there, how often they're there, have there been any citations or anything like that. And a question for this board is, when we get like a monthly report once in a while for the police with the
Every
rest?
month.
Every month, right? Does that have boating infractions on there?
Yes. If there
It
are
does.
any.
Okay, good. So if there are any, okay, so I will bring that back to that board. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. I have a very brief report tonight because we were trying to keep the meeting short, and I wasn't going to have anything, but Mrs. Cheeseman pulled me back in just when I thought I was getting out. So zoning, yes, I did go there. I spoke on behalf of the applicant. In this case, it was the tap room application being considered for the rear of Mitchell's property, the old grocery store loading docks, and that's been a rehabbed area. And this is a couple that wants to open up they'll brew their own beer, and they'll sell it either in growlers or in their facility, but without a restaurant. And these are popping up all over Connecticut and all over the Northeast. Very typical not to have a restaurant attached to these. Very typical. It's kind of like the wine trail. Now there's a beer trail. They would not serve Budweiser or whatever the flavor of the day is. They would only serve Connecticut brewed local pub stuff. It would be 5,000 gallons, I think, a year. Lots of limitations to this thing. It was met with some positive feedback and some details that need to still be worked out. So I think they passed it on to the next meeting. And of course, there was a house fire this morning that we all woke up to that news out on Cardinal, and I wish the family well. They weren't home, and we're thankful that everyone was okay. We're sorry that they lost their family pets. There is a big outcry from this amazing community that are just reaching out to support these people. People are wanting to, where can we go to donate? What can we do? What can we do? And my phone's been lit up, and my emails, and I'm in this meeting, and I'm getting messaged about, hey, we'll donate our space for donations, etc. Something will come out in the next couple of days. I'd want the family's permission to do that first, and they're trying to regroup. They were away. They were on their way back today from a family trip. So again, the house was empty, other than the family pets, and that's a big loss to any family and to them, I guess, especially. So, but everyone's okay. We had 8 fire companies from around our area: Subbase, Oakdale, Chesterfield, Old Saybrook, Oakdale.
Groton.
They came in later, but this is the fire community. They all come out and respond. I'll tell you, folks, that our ladder truck stayed in the garage. It has been deemed unusable. The company will not take it out for liability reasons. We're thankful, and the ladder truck would have been very helpful in today's fire to reach from the top. They could not, get to the top. This house was going.
Well,
It was going down anyway. Yeah, it was an intense fire. The reports were that it got hit by lightning. So a big lightning strike hit that neighborhood, took pictures off the walls and neighboring houses. So I was up there right away this morning. And again, more may come out about donations. Just people's prayers and good wishes and wanting to do something is very indicative of the community we live in. And that's inspiring for us all. So more to come out with that. And if you know the family, give them hugs. That's really all I have tonight. Short meeting. We don't meet again until August.